Hey, just a quick video update. Um, so yeah, it's been an entire year. A lot of things happened. Uh, is this channel dead? Arguably, one could say yes. However, I would argue it's on life support or in a coma, right? Um, I'm in a tricky position right now. Um, some things there was a project and it's actually still continuing. It's actually matured quite a bit. Um, I've allowed the research to change my mind about at least one fundamental principle in the Nawa culture and the philosophy that it had. Um, and probably in a lot of ways it still has, you know. But my focus is on the culture as it was at a certain time. Late post classical is really where I focus, as well as the colonial era that happened not too far after, because that's a lot of where we're gonna get our clues from. Um, that being said, my research has matured in terms of my grasp of translation, philology, with regard to the linguistic end of it. Um, I'm not a trained linguist, but I am a burgeoning philosopher, and my focus is on Nawa philosophy. Um, but it's certainly, I've learned a lot, and I've come very close to publishing. Um, I came very close to going to a PhD program. Um, the environment was not, it stagnated. It wasn't what it was in past years for reasons probably due to what was going on with the federal funding crisis, because unlike STEM, the humanities do rely um, more so, if not largely, upon the federal funding aspect. Um, Advisors don't get, or at least not normally, they don't get money that they split, with based on a project, a lab project, probably namely, and distribute that, amongst, themselves, themselves, whatever project they're doing, which would include grad students. Um, so my situation was pretty sizably contingent upon what was going on in the crisis, and it wasn't just myself. Um, the wait lists were not moving the way that they had traditionally, across the board. So there was gridlock and essentially deadlock that that accumulated. Um, but I mean, the way that I've learned, or rather, I think the approach that I've always had, but the appreciation that I have for it is that I didn't leave any doubt. Um, I didn't leave any doubt in terms of why I should be funded upfront. Um, and that coincides with the fact that, as I said in the beginning, um, my research has certainly matured. Um, and that's pretty much what my channel is contingent upon, because I'm in a precarious state, as I stated before. A lot of my research, it's not like I'm somebody who is highly published and I can sort of glean from my work and make content and publish content without worry that, you know, I may end up identifying myself when I have work that is being peer reviewed, um, and also interested parties who I may be counter arguing may become privy. I mean, as it is, peer review itself does some of that. There may be word that somebody is out there doing work that might be attempting to unseat certain points of view, and that'll make those people, as well as others, aware that there's a thesis, a theory, a hypothesis at minimum building. So I can't be very transparent and publish a lot of content. And there's other things that I would like to publish content on, but it's always based largely on my research in Nahua, Aztec philosophy, Mexica philosophy, more narrowly. So, transparency for me might be a killer. In the same token, it's difficult to kind of think of ways that I can sort of talk about it in a way that might not require so much transparency. But I do constantly think of ways that I can, talk about, for instance, current events, because I think that Nawa philosophy, broadly speaking, but especially Aztec philosophy, within the breadth of late post-classical to colonial, when a lot of those viewpoints were still being upheld largely, as I'm finding out now in my translating. It's difficult not to give so much away. So I'm also looking to start life coaching, and life coaching based on my research. And there are different reasons for that. Maybe I should make content on that. Some of it having to do with Replicate and why I'm not veering over into psychology, for instance. Why I would become a life coach based on philosophy. But, as I said, I'm constantly trying to rack my brain, and I'm working on my big project, and my project has come close. I actually had the opportunity to sort of grandfather in, without giving too much away, a paper that I had and try and publish it, but luckily I didn't, and that's because the paper I was trying to publish, it's part of my older views that is kind of what I've matured from. That was a starting point. And as I said, I have changed my mind on some things, very fundamental things. So, but long story short, happy Halloween. Going to be trying my hand at the PhD cycle at least one more time. Going to be starting life coaching, and I look forward to publishing content, and I'm fairly confident that I will be publishing peer review, aside from what I've published scholarly that isn't peer review, but still counts um, as scholarly. Which again, um, I've changed my mind even on those things, and I'm dying to share that. But anyway, to all of you, happy Halloween. I want to give a special shout out to Cherry's ASMR, your work, your content that you haven't updated for a while, and I really hope you do. It's powered me through in so many ways. Not only the videos themselves visually, but the sounds. It's helped me relax and sleep. It's also helped me kind of shut off some of my, we'll call it, but not diagnose, we'll call it hyperactive sort of sensory issues. Um, if I were independently wealthy, I would certainly, I would certainly bankroll this channel. She's great. Check out her content, please. Perhaps we can coax her out of her own channel's current lull. But anyway, that's that for now. Happy Halloween. Hope to make more content. Hope to publish. And see you guys around.